everyone, we are Geeks Not Nerds. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Vince.
And today we're going to be talking about what I like to call late sequels. So today we're going to talk about when and if we think it's a good idea to make a sequel to a movie or even to a franchise of movies that we haven't seen one of in a really long time. Now, obviously, we're doing this now because Tron's going to come out in a couple months, Tron Legacy, and it's been 20-some-odd years since there was a Tron movie, and then we also did the video about Ghostbusters 3, and, you know, whether or not we think that's going to be a good idea when that happens. So, it's timely, it's an interesting topic, so we'll go ahead. So, Vince?
I have a definitive answer.
You have a definitive answer.
My answer is maybe.
A definitive maybe. Okay.
Yeah. You know, I think it's not necessarily a bad idea.
Does it depend on the franchise?
I think it depends on the story you want to tell.
Uh-huh.
And I think you can do something within a world that you could feasibly call a sequel, but it has to be where you're looking at. It has to be the right thing you're looking at. If you're going to recast the actors, that needs to be a serious consideration.
Oh, yeah.
If you're going to make a movie that takes several years after the fact, that needs to be a very big consideration there too. Because if you're going to do something that's barely related, like say for example, they're going to do a Spawn movie, and say that there was already a Spawn movie that existed, and say they wanted
Let's just pretend.
Yeah, let's pretend. And let's say that maybe they want to do a Sam and Twitch movie, and they wanted to call it a Spawn sequel, which I would be okay with if they're like Spawn, the Sam and Twitch Chronicles, whatever. That doesn't bother me.
Right.
But if they want to do a remake of the movie, I mean, not remake, I'm getting ahead of myself.
A sequel.
Yeah, if they want to do a sequel, a direct sequel, and just recast the guy and have it take place right after the movie ended, I'd be okay with that too, but they need to know what story they're going to tell and what market they're going to release it to. Because it could just fall flat on its tail.
I think it's very important when you're considering doing something like this that you look at the other movies that have tried this and try to do something different, and I mean, not just different for the sake of different, but there actually seems to be a formula that is beginning to evolve for these kinds of movies, where it's like it's almost as if that some of the filmmakers have a difficult time being original in doing a late sequel, and so they very often will fall on a couple of plots, and very often these will be together. A is the person who used to be a young action star is now an old guy trying to be a young action star. You know, trying to get to you know, get his groove back. And B, that guy has a son. And not only does he have a son, but he has a son he didn't know about. That happens a lot in these, and it's like, why? Like why is that the thing we fall back on? And you know the two movies I'm really thinking of when I'm saying that?
Indiana Jones.
And Superman Returns.
Right on. You know, there's some...
Granted, not the old person trying to get his groove thing back, although, I mean, it's not like Superman is aged or anything in Superman Returns, but he is trying to get his life back together. He's been out of sorts for a while. You know, so that's still kind of there.
You know, the thing that bothers me about some of this is that what they're trying to essentially do, especially with Indiana Jones, I just get the feeling that that's what they're trying to do, is breathe new life back into a franchise rather than making a good movie. And they're saying, well, who can we make to be the new Indiana Jones? Well, Shia LaBeouf, or Shia LaBeouf,
right,
or whatever his name is now the new Indiana Jones. You see what I'm saying?
Who by the way, was got put in so many movies at one time that I think a lot of people are just sick of him at this point.
I am.
Which is unfortunate, because I like him.
Yeah, he's not a bad actor. I don't care about him.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, I saw him in Transformers, and I'm like, done. I don't care about this kid anymore.
But yeah, and I mean, you know, they kind of had that set up with Superman Returns also, and then of course there wasn't even any payoff. I mean, like, you know, his kid throws that piano, and then no more superpowers for that kid. Like really, like I was waiting for there to be like a way better reveal than oh, Superman just figured out that's his kid. Like, I don't know, but
you know, that movie had a resounding factor to it. Like, oh, we're supposed to care. But I forgot.
But I really like what you said about it being, you know, trying to breathe life into a franchise and not making a good film. That's a great point. Because what Hollywood will very often do is say, okay, maybe people will go see this movie, but it's more important for us to make sure that they go see the next one.
Yeah. Yeah. But, I mean, a franchise that I think is long since dead is Lethal Weapon. You guys remember Lethal Weapon? I love this series.
Yeah, right.
I won the most. I think that's the best out of the group, but that's...
I'm not extremely familiar with them, but I like the ones that I've seen.
They made the first three, which are basically just regular Lethal Weapon movies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say they're interchangeable in quality, but when you look at the characters, they're basically the same guys. But when you get to number 4, I think they made that some years after number 3. I don't know for certain. I don't think it was nearly a dramatic removal from the third one. But there is definitely a shift in tone. And there is a bit of passing of the torch, which is irritating with Chris Rock's character. But it's not the most important thing. What is most important to me is that they make this movie about they are now, in fact, too old for this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I find fascinating.
Sure.
They take it from the first movie, where Danny Glover's character, it was Danny Glover, I think.
Yeah,
right?
sure was.
He kept saying, I'm too old for this, and now they're both too old for this. It's not, now that running gag has become a theme. And I think that's good. I think that's something that it didn't need to be made. That it's not important. In fact, if there wasn't a number 4, I wouldn't have cared.
Right.
But I'm not dissatisfied with there being a number 4, like so many people are with Indiana Jones 4.
Yeah, in a similar vein, I thought Live Free or Die Hard was brilliant.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I haven't seen Live Free or Die
Oh, you
Hard.
haven't? Okay. Well, I really liked that movie, and there again, another one of these late sequels. I mean, it was a lot of years in between, and totally worked, and was somewhat about him being kind of too old for this, but like. It didn't have all the same tropes that a lot of these things do. Like that's something that if you use the same actor and you go a lot of years later, it's got to be addressed because otherwise it's just silly. So we certainly have to address that. I don't like it when franchises try to pretend like a character is not as old as he is. You know what I mean? Where it's just like
Yeah, I mean, and that's why you recast the actors, and that's why I think to some extent. The recent Star Trek movie worked. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to pretend to know anything about Star Trek. But,
I will.
Well, he's got
I'll pretend to know something about it. Anyway.
But the new, you recast the actors. It didn't necessarily have to be Shatner up there on screen for you to buy that was Captain Kirk.
Sure, right.
And that's a smart move that they made. Granted, they managed
it was
to
also,
put Leonard Nimoy on screen, but still.
It's also complicated because it was as much of a reboot as it was a sequel, but yeah, I mean, because it was kind of both. But yes, yeah, I completely agree with that. Can you think of others that really worked? Other really late sequels?
Nothing really comes to mind, but there's lots of movies that they try to tack on to the genre, or to the franchise. Like, hey guys, you should watch Day of the Dead 2, because that's connected to Day of the Dead in a half-butted kind of way.
Did you see the last Rocky?
No, I didn't.
Because that worked.
I haven't even seen the first Rocky. Shoot me if you want. I feel it coming. I've seen a lot of other stuff from film canon, so get off my back. I'm being gentle. I'm sorry.
I am really excited about Tron Legacy, and I don't think you've ever even seen Tron, right? Or has it been a long time?
Oh, it's been a while, but I've seen Tron a few times.
I thought at some point you told me you hadn't. Anyway, sorry about that. But have you seen trailers for the new movie?
I saw a teaser. I didn't see a full-fledged trailer.
There are now 3 trailers of it, and they're telling you more and more every trailer, and I'm getting more and more excited every time because the story looks really, really interesting. It's a movie that's really worth being made, not just we're doing it because people have heard of Tron. It really looks like it's the right time to make this movie. You know what I mean? Like it's really cool. I'll tell you this really quick, just because you probably don't know, but Jeff Bridges seems to be playing both the protagonist and the antagonist. Where there's an evil avatar version of himself that they've digitally made to look a lot like his character did in the first movie, and that's the villain. Huh. And then the real Jeff Bridges character just looks like Jeff Bridges, and he's aged and stuff because he has.
By the by,
I just think it's really cool. It's a great idea. I'm quite psyched for it. So I'm just saying that it looks like if it's as good as it looks like it might be, because you can never tell from trailers. If it really ends up being that good, it's going to show that some franchises can make a sequel a bunch of years later, and it's worth doing.
By the by, I love Jeff Bridges.
I do too.
He's a great actor. But, this is horrible because I'm going to relate this back to comic books.
Of course you are.
But, and everybody who knows me knows I'm not a big fan of Frank Miller. But Dark Knight Returns, or Dark Knight, whatever, I think that was what it was originally called, just Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like a sequel that was made several years after the fact. I mean, you just take the character and you make him older. Because if you have an actor who is older, you have to address it. And in this one, it just embraced it. It said, yeah, he's older, so what? We're going to put him in an entirely different world now. So, I thought that might be worth mentioning.
Well, what do you think? When is it a good idea to make a sequel to movies that been out for a long time, but it's been forever since we've seen one? Leave that in the comments below. Let us know. Also, let us know if there's an idea you'd like us to do in the future on a Geeks Not Nerds. And if you're ever in the Kansas City area, make sure you go to 87th Street and check out my favorite comic book store, Pop Culture Comics. Tell them that we sent you. And thanks a lot for watching. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Vince, reminding you to support your local comic book store.
See you later. Thanks for watching. Have you seen the Bing commercials?
A few
To
times.
that website? Oh my goodness, I gotta go look for a new water closet. Ooh, water. I like water. I'm gonna go look for some Aquafina. Aqua. That's my favorite color. I'm gonna go I'm gonna go get some paint to paint my my house aqua. Ooh, House. That's my favorite TV show. I'm gonna go look up pictures of House. That's what they're like.
Suddenly you have a DVD set and you're like, why can't I use my toilet?